Good morning, everyone. Let's begin with your doubts. So please post your doubts. Okay, so I have one doubt which says, please explain again the concept of residual value, I said. And someone has a doubt which says, please explain the concept of unearned income. Okay. We will, of course, be solving a couple of questions today where these two doubts will be solved. Anything else that you did not understand? Okay, let's proceed to the next standard. So I have the doubts which says residual value, unearned finance income, pre-tax incremental rate of borrowing, everything will be covered in the sums that we do today. Right. So if apart from this, if there are no doubts, let's proceed with the next question. We have already done question number 6 and question number 5. Before we proceed, let's quickly revise whatever we have done in AS 19 leases. Okay, we were doing AS 19 leases, which says a lease is an agreement whereby one party, known as the lessor, gives right to use the asset to a leasee. When one party gives right to use the asset to a leasee, the person giving out the asset on lease is known as the lessor. This is done for an agreed period of time. And what does the lessor gets in return? Payment or series of payments, also known as lease rentals. At the beginning, we will have to take a decision whether it is a finance lease or an operating lease. What is a finance lease? A lease that substantially transfers all the risk and reward incidental to ownership from the lessor to the leasee is a finance lease. There are 6 conditions. If any one of the conditions is satisfied, you will consider it to be a finance lease. Else, you will consider it to be an operating lease. What is a finance lease? The first condition says ownership of the asset transfers from the lessor to the leasee at the end of the lease term. Buying option is available and it is reasonably certain that the option will be exercised. Leased asset is of a specialized nature such that only the leasee can use it. The lease is non-cancellable. Lease tenure covers major part of the useful life of the asset. What is major part? 75%. And present value of MLP covers substantial portion of the fair value of the asset. What is substantial portion? 90% in this case. Then we try to understand the accounting treatment of finance lease in the books of leasee is an asset as well as liability. Journal entry will be asset on lease account debit to lessor account. The above entry will be recorded at an amount which is lower of fair value of the asset that is always given in the question. We have seen that. And then you have present value of MLP. Present value of MLP, again, we have seen how do we calculate in at least 4 questions now. What is minimum lease payments? It is lease rent agreed plus guaranteed residual value. Now quickly understand, someone had a doubt, what is the meaning, what is the concept of residual value? Residual value means the salvage value that you will get at the end of the useful life of the asset. Now the important question is that when it comes to finance lease, it is the leasee usually who will get the residual value, because leasee will be the owner at the time when the useful life of the asset is over. Now that is the time when leasee will be the owner, so it is the leasee who will get the benefit of residual value. But the leasee is not dealing in the market pertaining to that asset, so the leasee has limited knowledge about that asset. Since the leasee has very limited knowledge about that asset, the leasee will usually depend on the lessor for the residual value, and the lessor will guarantee one particular residual value, and usually the leasee will obtain that residual value. Which means for a leasee in MLP, you always take lease rent agreed plus only the guaranteed residual value. Are you getting it? If I talk from the viewpoint of the lessor will always take total residual value. Why will the lessor take total residual value? Because the lessor has access to that market. The lessor knows कि मैं अगर लीजी को इतना रेसिडुअल वैल्यू दूंगा तो मुझे कम से कम उतना मेरा जो मुझसे खरीदने वाला है वो मुझे कम से कम उतना प्रोवाइड करेगा या उससे ज्यादा प्रोवाइड करेगा. Usually no one will sell at the same cost. Someone will have their own profit as well. That is why we take guaranteed as well as unguaranteed residual value for a lessor, right? So this is the entire concept of residual value for leases. Residual value is nothing but your scrap value. This residual value is divided into two parts, guaranteed and unguaranteed. Now guaranteed part only the leasee will take, because this is the amount he can anticipate to receive from the lessor. However, the lessor will take both guaranteed and unguaranteed residual value. The reason for taking both guaranteed and unguaranteed residual value will be that the lessor knows that he is going to receive the residual value, plus he has chances of receiving any amount higher than that also, because he has access to the market. Now this is the concept of guaranteed and unguaranteed residual value, right? So I think someone had a doubt pertaining to residual value, which was Z shake. So I hope now this doubt is solved and you're completely clear with that, right? So I hope that is done. Okay, let's go to the next one. After that, we did the key points. The first key point said that MLP will never include any expense in the form of repair and maintenance, because these will always go to the profit and loss account. Then we did that if there is any contingent rent, we do not have to include that. Depreciation will be charged by the leasee because of substance over form. This is something that we have already discussed earlier. And present value, when you calculate present value of MLP, the discount factor will be taken as follows. First, you will take the interest rate implicit from the viewpoint of the lessor, which is nothing but the IRR. The alternate choice will be pre-tax incremental rate of borrowing. So what now, understand how will you think about this. Pre-tax incremental rate of borrowing is basically not there in your syllabus. You do not have any question based on this, but I'll explain the concept to you. Say for example, you are paying 15% interest. You are paying what? 15% interest. 15% interest that you pay, you are going to get in 15% interest, say for example 10% tax benefit. अब ध्यान देना, how do you get 10% tax benefit? मान लो आपका 1000 rupees amount है, तो 1000 rupees into 15% will be how much? 150. ये 150 आपका interest cost है. 150 is what your interest cost. Since this interest cost pertains to business, the Income Tax Act, please understand what I'm saying. The Income Tax Act will allow you to take this 150 rupees as interest cost in the profit and loss account. Matlab they will allow you to debit your profit and loss account. Right? Understand this carefully. They will allow you to debit your profit and loss account. Now, when they allow you to debit your profit and loss account, your profit reduces. What happens? Your profit reduces, which means in income tax it is known as that it is an allowable expense. Income tax में हम इसको क्या कहते हैं? It is an allowable expense. Now you will think in this way कि इनकम टैक्स में मुझे 150 रुपीज इंटरेस्ट कॉस्ट लग रहा है विच इज अलाउेबल. 150 रुपीज इंटरेस्ट कॉस्ट जो लग रहा है, 150 रुपीज मेरा प्रॉफिट कम हो रहा है, लेकिन साथ में 150 रुपीज पे मुझे जो 10% टैक्स बेनिफिट मिलने वाला है वो भी कम हो रहा है. व्हाट इज योर टैक्स बेनिफिट? दैट इज 150 into 10%, which comes to 15, which means आप 150 रुपए नहीं बचा रहे हो. 150 रुपए में से 15 रुपए का जो टैक्स बेनिफिट होने वाला था वो आपका चले गया है, which means now you are saving only 135. This 135, when you calculate in percentage form, is known as pre-tax incremental rate of borrowing. Right? Pre-tax incremental rate of borrowing is nothing but your rate of borrowing without the tax benefit. Now, what will happen is, in this case, you will calculate the pre-tax incremental rate of borrowing and you will use that in calculating the present value factor. Right? This is the concept of pre-tax incremental rate of borrowing. However, in your syllabus at the intermediate level, you have only the IRR method, right? So you need not take this. Even if they ask you a question on pre-tax incremental rate of borrowing, they will give you the rate in the question. Are you getting it? So I think Akshay had a doubt pertaining to pre-tax incremental rate of borrowing. I hope your doubt is solved and now this is clear. Right, okay, let's proceed then to the next one, which says treatment of direct expenses. How do you treat direct expenses for finance lease? Then how do you treat direct expenses for finance lease? Direct expenses, if you record in the books of leasing, it is to be capitalized. In the books of lessor, you have a choice. Either you debit to P&L or you amortize over the lease tenure. After that, you have in the books of lessor. For a lessor, the nature of the transaction is that it is a sale as well as a receivable. How will you treat the accounting entry? Leasing account will be debited to asset account and the above entry will be recorded at gross investment. What is gross investment? Lease rent agreed. Gross investment is lease rent agreed plus residual value. Right, look at the key points. Residual value will include both guaranteed and unguaranteed residual value. Discount rate to be used is the interest rate implicit from the viewpoint of the lessor, and because leasing is already charging depreciation on this, the lessor will not take depreciate. The lessor will not charge depreciation. You cannot have two people charging depreciation on one asset. So in this very question, it is the leasing who will charge the depreciation and the lessor will not be allowed to charge the depreciation. Are you getting it? Okay. After this, you have unearned finance income. Okay, so someone also had a doubt on unearned finance income. We will try and understand that with the help of this example. You had received 2,23,147 into 3, which is 6,69,441 plus 60,000. How much should you get in total? 7,29,000 is something you should receive. Against that, you receive how much? 6 lakhs. Now, actually, you receive 7,29,441. लेकिन उसकी वैल्यू 6 लाख हो जाती है because of time value of money, because of the discounting factor. So the amount that you received less, why did you receive less? Because of time value of money, is known as your unearned finance income. And since unearned finance income is your income, income is always from the viewpoint of the lessor. Because income is always from the viewpoint of the lessor, you will have to take over here the unguaranteed residual value. Are you understanding? So you will take the unguaranteed residual value. You will think in this way कि हमको 729 मिलना चाहिए था, उसकी जगह हमें 6 lakhs मिला, मतलब 1,29,441 हमको कम मिला. क्यों कम मिला? क्योंकि पैसे तो पूरे मिले लेकिन उसकी वैल्यू कम हो गई because of time value of money. Now because the value reduced by 129,441, your 129,441 is nothing but your unearned finance income, which also means that unearned finance income is the result, or you can say unearned finance income is the difference that arises because of only one thing, and that is your time value of money. Are you getting it? Right, I hope that is clear to you, and I think it was Sprua's doubt, so that is also solved. Okay, Sprua, so if you look at the question, the total investment made and the value of the lease, both are 6 lakhs. They are the same in the question. So if you check that, your doubt will be solved. Read the question carefully, you'll understand that. both the values are the same. So this is where we have taken. I told you the other day that you can take both the values because both values have 6 lakh rupees. Right? So if you check the question, I think your doubt will be solved. Do that, and if you still have a doubt, please come back to me. Right? Apart from that, I hope the concept of unearned finance income is now clear. Okay, fine. I have one more doubt, which says that leasee takes guaranteed residual value, whereas the lessor takes residual value, and the lease rent agreed is the same. Then in that case, there will not be a difference in the balance. Of course, there will be a difference in the balance, but that does not matter because both of them are following different accounting treatments. So it's okay if the value in the books of the lessor is different compared to the books of the leasee because we are not matching accounts. See, please understand, this is not debtor-creditor relationship. This is not debtor creditor relationship कि आपका balance match होना चाहिए. It's okay if it does not match. The accounting treatment for both of them is different, and because the accounting treatment is different, they can have different values. So I don't think there should be any problem if there is a difference in the value. Are you getting it? Right, I hope that solves your doubt as well. If that does, let's proceed to the next one, which says operating lease is still to be done. So we will leave that as of now. Let's quickly have a look at the questions. Question number 1. Come to question number 3. Let's quickly have a look at question number 3. Question 3. It says define the term finance lease. State any 3 situations when a lease would be classified as a finance lease. Okay. It says, so what is a finance lease? A lease that substantially transfers all the risk and reward incidental to ownership from lessor to the lessee is a finance lease. Now, what are the 3 situations that will give rise to a finance lease? The first one, ownership transfers from lessor to the lessee. Lessee has an option to purchase the asset, which means buying option is available and it is reasonably certain that the option will be exercised. The lease term is for a major part of, so lease tenure covers major part of the useful life of the asset. The other 3 conditions are lease is non-cancelable, leased asset is of a specialized nature such that only the lessee can use it, and present value of MLP covers substantial portion of fair value of the asset. Are you getting it? As simple as it is. Now what you can do is cancel question number 3 because you already have question number 3 in your theory that I've given to you, which means cancel means question nikal nahi dena hai. You will revise it today, but it is not your last day revision question. You can skip this question on the last day of the exam, not today. Right? So please mind that carefully. Okay, question number 3 is done. Question number 4, I guess we have already done. Question number 5 also we have already done. Question number 6 also we have already done. Question number 7 is yet to be done. Question number 8 we will do later. Question number 8 and 9 both. Okay, 9 I think we have already done. Question number 10. Question number 10 is we have to calculate interest rate implicit. Leave that. We have not yet understood the interest rate implicit calculation. I think we can do question number 11. So let's do question number 11 now. Let's solve question number 11. Ensure you have a notebook. You have to solve question number 11 along with me. Let's do question number 11, which is on page number 47. Question number 11 on page number 47. Okay, can someone help me on the chat box? This question number 11 is on what page of your study material? Can someone please help me with this? Page number 144. Okay. So please put over here page number 144 because your study material and mine is different in terms of page number. Okay, thank you so much. Page number 144. Page number 144. Let's read the question. Question number 11. Everyone, your attention should be on question number 11. A machine is expected to have a useful life of 6 years and is leased for 4 years. Both the cost and the fair value of the asset is 7 lakhs. The amount will be paid in 4 equal annual installments at the end of the lease term, and the lessor will get back the machinery. So this is surely not a finance lease based on this condition. The unguaranteed residual value at the end of the 4th year is 70,000. The IRR of the investment is 10%. The present value factor for the 4th year is 4 years is 3.169, and the present value at the end of the 4th year is 0.683. करना क्या है? State with reasons whether the lease constitutes finance lease, and you also need to compute the unearned finance income. Okay, we have done this kind of a question. Quickly put your first statement. As per accounting standard 19 leases. As per accounting standard 19 leases. As per accounting standard 19 leases. करना क्या है? You have to determine the nature of the lease. So write over there determination of nature of the lease. Determination of nature of lease. Your first statement is as for AS 19 leases, determination of nature of lease. Okay, everyone quickly on your chat box. Tell me, the first condition is that ownership of the asset should transfer from lessor to the leasee. Is that condition getting satisfied? Yes or no? Is that condition getting satisfied? Yes or no? Everyone quickly on your chat box. The first condition is ownership transfers from lessor to the leasee. Is that condition getting satisfied? No. So I'm writing over here, ownership does not transfer. Does not transfer from the lessor to the leasee at the end of the lease term. Okay. Is any information given in the question that buying option is available and it is reasonably certain that the option will be exercised? Is any such information given in the question? Yes or no? Is any such information given in the question that buying option is available and it is reasonably certain that the option will be exercised? Not given. Okay. So buying option is not available in the question. Okay. Does the question anywhere mention that the leased asset is of a specialized nature such that only the leasee can use it? The leased asset is of a specialized nature. Is the leased asset is of a specialized nature? Not. It's not mentioned anywhere in the question that the leased asset is of a specialized nature. So you will mention over here, leased asset is not of a specialized nature. Does the question mention that the lease is non-cancelable? Yes or no? Does the question mention that the lease is non-cancelable? It does not mention. So I'm writing over here, lease is not non-cancelable. Okay. Now everyone, your attention should be over here. Have we solved this kind of a question earlier? Have we already solved this kind of a question? Okay. Can you solve this question? Can you all solve this question? Have you understood it so properly that you can solve this question? Okay. You can solve this question, right? Next, understand this. Can you help me solve this question? Can anyone help me solve this question? So I would like to ask any one of you and you will solve this question. How, that I'll tell you. I want to know who amongst you can solve this question for me. Who amongst you can solve this question for me? Okay, let's try this. I've been solving questions, so now I want to understand whether you have completely understood it or not. So what we do is, we take it this way. I will unmute Spruha, and then you will explain how I can proceed with condition number 5. Now, the one who is solving the question, which is Spruha in this case, please listen to my question and then accordingly you will have to answer. And everyone's attention should be on what she is saying. Right? Pay attention to what she's saying. If she makes a mistake, then you and I together have to help her solve that mistake. Right? So please pay full attention. Now, Spruha, please understand. You have to explain to me and everyone condition 5, condition 6. Right? And then Raj, I will unmute you later on and you will help me solve the unearned finance income portion. Right? So to Spruha and Raj, I hope this is clear. Spruha, you have to do condition number 5 and 6, and Raj, you will have to do the unearned finance income. And the next question, whenever we take it this way, Pawan, you will solve that for us. Right? So Spruha, I hope you are absolutely clear with this. Okay. So I will unmute you now, and you will solve this question. Okay, go ahead, Spruha.
Okay, sir.
Condition number 5.
Yes, sir. In condition number 5, a condition is that कि हमारी जो यूजफुल लाइफ ऑफ द असेट है वो सब्सटेंशियल पोर्शन उसका लीज में कवर हो जाना चाहिए. यहाँ पे
Please
लीज.
check your statement again. Is it substantial portion or major part?
Okay, sir. Sorry. Major part.
Okay, go ahead.
Major part. Then यहाँ पे हमें दिया हुआ है लीज टेन्योर 4 years. Useful life of the asset is 6 years. So percentage of assets life covering, percentage of lease covering tenure covering the useful life is 66.67%.
Okay, how do you get 66 point? Daddy, can you help me out with the working?
Yes, sir. 4/6 into 100.
Very good. How much does that come to?
66.67%.
Okay. Everyone on your chat box, do you get 66.67%? Okay, everyone gets that. So what you're saying is correct. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. Now we will check condition number 6. It is present value of minimum lease payment
I am
covers.
sorry to interrupt, but I want to understand if it is 66.67%, is what should be my statement over here?
Condition is not satisfied. So as per this condition, it is not a finance lease.
Perfect. So lease tenure does not cover major part of the useful life of the asset.
Life of the asset. Okay.
Perfect. Very good. Go ahead.
So now the next condition is condition number 6. Present value of minimum lease payment covers substantial portion of the fair value of the asset. So for that we have to prepare the working note.
How do you do that?
In the working note, we will first write out in the particulars that lease payment agreed, and we will leave the
Okay. What is your lease rental in the question?
we don't know right now, so we will keep it blank.
Okay. So why are you preparing the working note basically?
So that we can know that whether the present value of minimum lease payment covers the substantial portion, that is 90% of the fair value of the asset or not.
Okay. Very good. Now I have a different question to you. Suppose you use this method. आपने ये information निकाल के you calculated 67.67%.
Yeah.
Can't we do this do a similar thing in condition 6? यहाँ पे तो हमने working note बनाया नहीं, क्यों condition 6 में बनाना पड़ रहा है?
Because sir, we have to know that what is the we don't know what is the lease payment agreed.
Perfect. So you do not know the lease rental agreed in the question. Since you do not know the lease rent agreed in the question, you need to first prepare a working note to find out the lease rent agreed in the question. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, perfect. Go ahead then.
Now we are preparing working note. In that, we will calculate the lease rent agreed.
Okay.
The first, we have the constant rate of constant rent lease rent. So we can take 1 to 4 years at once.
No problem then.
Then lease rental, we are keeping it blank right now.
Okay.
Present value factor at 10% is 3.169.
Okay. Who told you this value?
It is given in the question.
Perfect. Very good then.
Then we will keep this cell blank also. Keep
Okay.
this.
The present value will not
Yes,
be
sir.
there. Okay then.
Then unguaranteed residual value is given 70,000.
Unguaranteed residual value. But should I take unguaranteed residual value over here?
Yes, because we don't know that whether it is a finance lease or operating lease.
Okay. Suppose if you knew that this is a finance lease and now you have to find out present value of MLP for a leasee, then will you take unguaranteed residual value?
No.
Okay. Why? Because for a leasee you always take the guaranteed residual value. What if it was a lesser? Then would you have taken guaranteed, unguaranteed, or both?
Both.
Okay, very good. Go ahead then.
Then present value factor at the rate 10% for 4th year is 0.683.
Okay.
Now we will multiply 70,000 with 0.683. We will get 47,810.
You have 70,000, right?
Yes.
70,000. You will take 70,000 multiplied by this value. You get 47,810.
Yes.
Okay, then.
Then cost of the equipment is rupees 7 lakhs.
Cost of the equipment in the question correct is 7 lakhs. So should I take over here?
Yes.
7 lakhs. Okay, good then. See, remember
Then
the cost of the equipment and the fair value both are 7 lakhs in this case, right? So I want everyone to note that both the values are same. So you can take any one of them. Cost or fair value, whatever you call it, the value will remain 7 lakhs. Okay, then go ahead.
Then now we can deduct unguaranteed residual value from cost of the equipment so that we can get the lease payment agreed.
Okay, wait. You have blue and yellow. Which one should we find first?
Blue.
Blue. Okay. How do you get that?
6,52,190
Right,
to
but how do you get that?
7 lakhs minus 47,810.
Okay, so you get 6,52,190.
Yes.
Okay, now Sprua, and to everyone I have a doubt. If I do not calculate the yellow value, please understand my question. If I do not calculate the yellow value, still I think condition number 6 we can calculate. What do you say?
Yes, sir.
We can, so don't calculate this, leave it as of now. Tell me, how will you now satisfy condition number 6, or you will check condition number 6?
Uh, our present value of lease rent agreed is 7,52,190.
Let me correct
And
you, present value of MLP, not lease rent agreed.
oh, sorry,
Okay, is how much?
6,52,190.
Perfect. What is your fair value of the asset?
7 lakhs.
Perfect. What next?
So present value of MLP, which covers the portion of fair value, is 93.17%.
Okay, can you help me? How did you get that value?
Yes, sir. 6,52,190 divided by 7 lakhs into 100.
Okay, how much do you get? 90?
3.17%.
93.17. Perfect. Now what next?
Now we will check whether the condition is satisfied or not. Here in this case, our substantial portion is 90% and present value of MLP covered is 93.17%, which is greater than 90%. So our condition number 6 is satisfied.
Okay, that is how much percent did you take? Say 93.17%. Perfect.
Yes.
Then,
so we can say that this is a finance lease.
okay, for finance lease, out of 6 conditions, minimum how many should be satisfied?
1.
1. So is one condition getting satisfied over here?
Yes.
Okay, which one? Condition
Sixth.
number 6. Okay. So my final statement will be present value of MLP covers substantial portion of fair value of the asset. To complete the statement. Hence, this is
Finance lease.
perfect. Very good. Hence, this is a finance lease. Fine. Okay, Sprua. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Sir.
Right. Anyone has a doubt in this? Let me solve that first. If anyone has a doubt in this, let me solve that first. On your chat box, if anyone has a doubt in this. If not, Raj, please go ahead with the unearned finance income.
Yes, sir. So first of all, we will put our statement at calculation of unearned finance income.
Okay.
In that particulars, first of all, as earlier we have not calculated the lease rent agreed. So first of all, we will need to calculate that.
Right. So which means that if the question does not ask you unearned finance income, तो आप येलो वाला वैल्यू ढूंढ के अपना टाइम मत बिगाड़ना. लीव द येलो वैल्यू because that's not needed to calculate condition number 6. Basically, the yellow value is needed only to calculate the unearned finance income because that is where you need the lease rental per annum. Right? Please understand that. This is one point you must understand. So in the question, if they ask you that only classify whether it is a finance or operating lease, then please do not go to the unearned, don't go beyond to calculate the lease rental per annum. You will stop at 652,190. Okay, fine, go ahead then.
So first of all, we will divide 6,52,190 by 3.169. So we will get a lease rental of 2,05,803.09.
Okay, so you have 2,05,803.09.
09.
Perfect. Then
so this is our lease rental agreed. Now we'll multiply it with 4 because we have taken the lease for 4 years.
okay, so you have lease rent. You have 2 lakh. Please repeat that. 2 lakh.
2,05,803.09.
09 multiply by 4.
4.
How much do
That's
you get?
8,23,212.36.
Perfect.
Then we will add the unguaranteed residual value.
Okay, can you explain to me why are we adding the unguaranteed residual value?
Actually, we should add the unguaranteed plus guaranteed residual value, but since we don't have the value of guaranteed residual value, we'll add only the unguaranteed residual value, as the lessor will get this amount at the end of the lease period means.
So can I say that the income is always from the viewpoint of the lessor, because lessor is the one who is earning income in case of a lease. It is an expense for the leasing and income for the lessor. And because you're taking the lessor's viewpoint, you will always take the total residual value, which includes guaranteed and unguaranteed both. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What about the unguaranteed residual value? What's your value?
70,000.
Here you have 70,000. What next?
So total comes to 8,93,212.36.
So you get total as 8 lakh. If you could please repeat that again. 8 lakh.
8,93,212.36.
Yes. Okay. What next?
Now we will deduct the cost of the investments, the value of the investment from this.
Okay.
That is 7 lakh rupees.
7 lakhs. Perfect.
So
Now,
we'll
if you
get
can,
our
in layman language, explain how do you derive unearned finance income? Layman language.
देखा जाए तो मीन्स हमें जब फ्यूचर में एट द एंड ऑफ 4 years हमें इतनी वैल्यू लीज रेंट अग्रीड प्लस अनगैरेंटीड रेसिडुअल वैल्यू मिलेगी, बट ड्यू टू द मीन्स टाइम वैल्यू ऑफ मनी हमें इतना मिलना चाहिए था 8,93,212, but we are getting only 7 lakhs, so the remaining is our unearned income.
Okay, so I'm just correcting you at one point. What you're saying is absolutely correct, no doubt in that. But you understand this way that you will get the entire amount, पर वो amount की value कम हो जाएगी. Why? Because of the time value of
money.
Okay, perfect. What about the next one? How much is your unearned finance income?
1,93,000.
Your unearned finance income will be 1,93,000.
212.36.
Okay, perfect. Very good. Thank you, Raj.
Welcome,
Okay,
sir.
anyone else who has a doubt in this? If anyone has a doubt on your chat box, I'll repeat it for you. Are you all clear with this? Are you all clear with this question? Okay, perfect. Since you all are clear, take this question down. Once you're done, please tell me. I'll scroll down, but copy it properly. Copy it down properly. Ensure you prepare proper formats. And you solve it properly. Once you're done with this much, please put on the chat box. I'll scroll down. If you do not understand at any point, please ask me. Do not simply copy without understanding. Copy only if you have understood. If you have not understood, please do not copy. Ask me, I will explain the entire question once again to you. But remember, these types of questions have been frequently asked in the exam. So please ensure that you're thoroughly clear with the concept. If you are done till here, please tell me. I will scroll down to the next part. Okay, are you done with this question? Are you done? Are you all done with this question? Okay, if you're done with this question, come to question number 12. Come to question number 12. Let's try and solve question number 12. The last question of this type. Then we move to operating lease. Right, question number 12. Everyone on question number 12, which is on page number 145. Let's do question number 12. Okay. It says Akshat Limited International has given a machinery on lease for 36 months. 36 months means how many years on your chat box? 36 months means how many years? 3 years? Okay, great. Let's proceed. It says, and its useful life is 60 months, which means 5 years. Cost and fair market value of the machinery is 5 lakhs. The amount will be paid in 3 equal annual installments, and the leasee will return the machinery to the lessor at the termination of the lease. Okay. The unguaranteed residual value at the end of 3 years is 50,000. IRR is 10%, and the present value of annuity at the end of 10th year is 2.4888, and at the end of the third year is 0.7513. Karna kya hai? You are required to comment whether the lease constitutes a finance lease or operating lease. If it is a finance lease, you have to calculate the unearned finance income. Okay, let's do that. You will have to calculate the unearned finance income if it is a finance lease. Fine, let's try solving this question. Put your first statement. Put your first statement. As per accounting standard 19, leases. We are doing question number 12 on page number 145. Put your first statement. As per accounting standard 19, leases. Okay, everyone on your chat box. Is ownership transferred in this question? Is ownership getting transferred in this question from lessor to the leasee? Look at the question. Is the first condition getting satisfied? Is ownership transferring from lessor to the leasee? It's not transferring. So your first condition right over there. Ownership does not transfer from the lessor to the leasee. Right over there. Ownership does not transfer from the lessor to the leasee. Is buying option available in the question? Second condition. Is buying option available in the question? Not available. So right over there. Buying option is not available. Buying option is not available. Third condition. Is the leased asset of a specialized nature? Is the leased asset of a specialized nature? Look at the question and tell me. Is the leased asset of a specialized nature? No. So leased asset is not of a specialized nature. Is the lease non-cancellable? Is the lease non-cancellable in the question? No. So lease is not non-cancellable. The lease is not non-cancellable. Okay, fine. Who can help me for the next two things? Okay, Pawan, can you help me for the next thing? Can you help me with condition number 5 and 6? Okay, so Pawan and Ishita. So I think Ishita goes first. So Ishita, you help me out with condition number 5 and 6, and Pawan, you take the unearned finance income. Right, I hope that is fine. Okay, let's begin with condition number 5. Okay, Ishita, go ahead. Condition number 5.
Okay, sir. So condition number 5, in that we have to check whether the lease tenure covers major part of the useful life. So the lease tenure is given 3 years and the useful life is given 5 years. So we'll calculate like this: 3 divided by 5 into 100, which is equals to 60%.
Okay, just hold on. 3 divided by 5 into 100. So let's do that. 3 divided by 5. Okay, it comes to 60%.
So this is less than 75%. So we will write that as the lease tenure does not cover major part of the useful life of the asset, it is not a finance lease as per this condition.
Perfect, very good. So everyone please mention 60% and lease tenure does not cover major part of the useful life of the asset. The major part is 75%. However, we are only getting 60% over here. Since 60 is less than 75, the lease tenure does not cover the major part of the useful life of the asset. Hence, in this case, based on condition number 5, it is not a finance lease. Okay, very good. Please go ahead.
In condition number 6, we have to check whether the whether the present value of MLP covers substantial portion of the face value of asset.
Of which
face
value? Are you
face
sure?
value.
Face value? You have face value of shares, but you have fair value of the asset.
Fair value, sorry, fair value of the asset.
Okay, no problem. Go ahead.
Okay, so then we have to calculate the present value of MLP in this condition first.
Okay.
So here in the year we will write 1 to 4.
But if you want to calculate present value of MLP, that is what you said, right?
Yes.
Is fair value given in the question?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How do you calculate present value of MLP? What's the formula?
Present value of MLP.
Yes. How do you calculate that?
So we will deduct, means the fair value is 7 lakh. From that we will deduct the present value of the unguaranteed value.
No. Please understand my question. I'm repeating it for you. मैं आपसे ये क्वेश्चन पूछ रहा हूँ कि अगर आपको फेयर वैल्यू ऑफ प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ MLP ढूंढना है, क्या पूछ रहा हूँ मैं? प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ MLP, उसका फॉर्मूला क्या है?
That is lease rent agreed and plus the unguaranteed residual value.
If you talk about the leasee, it is the guaranteed residual.
Guaranteed, but here we don't know whether it is the finance lease.
I agree. But one more thing I want to tell you, that you said lease rent agreed plus unguaranteed residual value, right?
Yes.
आप एक बात याद रखिए, unguaranteed residual value किसी में भी नहीं आएगा. या तो lease rent agreed plus guaranteed residual value आएगा for the leasee, या lease rent agreed plus total residual value आएगा for the lessor. There is no condition where you take only the unguaranteed residual value.
Okay.
Right? Are you getting it?
So yes.
Okay, go ahead. Then now in this question, the problem is we do not know the lease rent agreed.
Yes.
So we will first prepare the working note 1, which will help you to calculate the lease rent agreed per annum.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now please go ahead.
Okay, in the year we will write 1 to 4.
Okay.
So we don't know the lease rental, so we will keep it blank. Then the present value factor is given 2.4888.
Okay.
Okay. So then present value we don't know. Then in the second column, in the year we will write 4. Then guaranteed residual value is given 50,000.
Okay.
Then in the present value factor, we will write 0.7513.
0.7513. Okay.
So then we will multiply both and we will get 37565.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay, then the fair value is given to us, which is 5 lakh.
Fair value is given to us, which is 5 lakh. Okay.
Cost and fair value.
If you can please check this. Is it okay? How did you get 4 years? If you can check, how did you get 4 years? Will it be 4 years or 3
No,
years?
sorry, 3 years, 3 years.
Okay, so you will have to take 3 years. So this will be 1 to 3 years. Be careful. Don't make such silly mistakes. Otherwise, your entire solution will be correct, but you will lose marks because of this. What's your cost of investment in the
5
question?
lakhs.
5 lakhs. Okay.
Okay, so then we will deduct 37,565 from 5 lakhs and we will get 462,435.
Very good. Then
Okay, so now we will write down the conclusion. So the present value of MLP is 462,435 and the fair value is 5 lakh. So we will divide 462,435 by 5 lakh into 100.
and fair value, how much did you say?
5 lakhs.
Okay. Done. Then we'll have to apply the formula.
Yes.
Okay.
So we will get 92.487 percentage.
You will have 462,435 divided by
5 lakhs.
into 100. How much do you get?
92.487 percentage.
Okay, so 92.49. You can round that off. Now what next?
Okay, so we will write that present value of MLP covers substantial portion of the fair value. So it is a finance lease.
That is 92.49%. Hence, this is what? A finance.
Finance lease.
Okay. So I will put that statement which says present value of MLP covers, Ishita, major part or substantial portion?
Substantial portion, which is 90%.
Covers substantial portion of the fair value of the asset. What if it is condition number 5? Will it be
Major
substantial?
portion.
Then it is major part. Okay. Hence, this is finance lease. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Ishita. Thank you so much. Okay, fine, perfect. Then let's now go to Pawan. Just give me a second. Yes, Pawan, go ahead.
Yes, sir. First, we will prepare format
Okay, format for
on income.
unearned finance income. Okay, go ahead.
First, we will write particulars in this lease rent agreed.
Okay,
So we will calculate for 3 years.
okay.
1,85,806.41.
How much do you get? Please repeat that. 1,85,000.
806.41.
Okay. Pawan, if you can help me, is this value correct? 2.4888. I think in the question there is some mistake. Can you calculate it orally on your calculator?
Yes, sir.
3 साल के बाद 10% के हिसाब से कितना आता है? I will also do it. So you get 0.7. How much do you get?
1,85,000.
No. I want the present value factor at the end of the third year.
Third year.
Present value factor ही चाहिए मुझे.
0.7513.
Okay, and of the first 3 years,
2.4888.
4,888 or 4,4868. Please check that. I think there is some error. It should be 2.4868.
Yes. It is given in an answer.
Okay, it is given in the question, I agree, but it should be 2.4868. There is a typing error. So I request everyone to just change this. It is not 2.4888. I agree it is given in the study material, but there is a typing error. In the exam, when they will give you, it will be 2.4868. So I request you all to take 2.4868. Okay, Pawan, please go ahead.
Okay, sir. So for year 1 year, lease rent agreed is 1,85,955.85.
Okay, so you get 185,955.85. Right, okay. Then
Into 3.
so here I will take 185,955.85 multiply by 3. How much do you get?
5,57,867.54.
5,57,867.54.
67.54.
Okay. Then
We will take unguaranteed residual value.
is how much?
It is of 50,000.
Okay, why did you take unguaranteed residual value over here?
Because from the point of view of lessor.
Okay, so why did you take the viewpoint of the lessor?
Because we will calculate on unfinanced income.
Okay, then
Income is calculated from viewpoint of lessor.
excellent, very good. Then go ahead.
So we will calculate 6,07,867.54.
Okay, what next?
Cost of, we will deduct cost of investment.
Which is how much?
5 lakhs.
Okay, after that?
So that we will get on unfinanced income.
Unearned finance income, which is how much?
1,07,867.54.
Can you tell me what is the meaning of this unearned finance income?
Because we will receive after the 3 years 6,07,867. But due to this discounting factor, we will get 5 lakhs. So we will on an income is 1,07,867.
Okay, so the value of 6,07,867.54 will become 5 lakhs over a period of 3 years, which means the lessor will lose out on 1,07,867 because of time value of money. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Pawan.
Okay, sir.
Okay, is everyone clear with this? Are you all clear with this question? Okay, great. Since you're clear with this question, let's go to a new concept, which is operating lease. Let's understand operating lease now. Okay, we are now done up with finance lease. Let's go to operating lease. See the definition of operating lease. It says जो finance lease नहीं है, वो operating lease है, which means it is a lease other than finance lease. Important underline, other than finance lease. जो ऑपरेटिंग लीज नहीं, जो फाइनेंस लीज नहीं है, उसको हम क्या कहेंगे? ऑपरेटिंग लीज है, विच मींस ऑपरेटिंग और फाइनेंस में फाइनेंस का डेफिनेशन है एंड ऑपरेटिंग इज अ रेसिड्यूअरी डेफिनेशन व्हिच इज नॉट अ फाइनेंस लीज, इज नोन एज एन ऑपरेटिंग लीज. ओके, हाउ डू यू गिव द अकाउंटिंग ट्रीटमेंट? ध्यान देना, as we've already discussed again and again, for a lessor this is income, for a leasee this is expense. So see, how do you record it? In the books of lessor, you will recognize lease rent as an income on straight line basis. So you will recognize lease rent on SLM basis. However, if any other systematic allocation method is available, then the same should be used. So if any other method is available, then that is the method that you will use. Otherwise, you will use the straight line method. What is the meaning of this of straight line method? Say for example, the if you have the entire lease rate for 5 years to be 5 lakhs, so every year you will have 1 lakh. So that is how you will recognize the lease rent per annum. Right now, since the ownership does not transfer, which means it is a operating lease. Since the ownership does not transfer, the depreciation in this case will be charged by the lessor. So it is the lessor who will charge the depreciation in this case. Right? So you have to remember 2 points. We are doing operating lease. What is operating lease? A lease which is not a finance lease is known as an operating lease. What happens in an operating lease? The lease rent will be recognized as an income on SLM basis. If there is any other systematic allocation of method available in the question, then you will use that method. And depreciation will be charged by the lessor in this question. On the other hand, in the books of leasing, what will happen? You will recognize lease rent as an expense on SLM basis. However, if any other systematic allocation method is available, then we will be using that method. And it's not required to mention, but I'll still mention that because depreciation is already charged by the lessor in this case, the leasee will not charge depreciation in this case. It is the lessor who will charge depreciation. So in the finance lease, it is the leasee who charges the depreciation. In operating lease, it is the lessor who charges the depreciation. Fine, okay, let's look at one common point that you have. Common point says direct expenses incurred shall be recorded in the books of the lessor and leasee by following either of the two given methods. देखो direct expense ऊपर भी था finance lease में, तब दो अलग अलग treatment थे. In the books of leasee, because they are going to become the owner, you were supposed to capitalize. In the books of lessor, ध्यान देना, in the books of lessor you had two options, either recognize in the P&L or amortize over the lease tenure. यहाँ पे you have a common method for both. For the lessor and the leasee, both you will recognize the entire income or expense in the profit and loss account, or you will amortize over the lease tenure. You can pick up whichever of the two methods do you want. Because in operating lease, the ownership is not transferring, which means no one is obtaining the asset. Since no one is obtaining the asset, you need not capitalize the direct expenses. You can either debit them to the profit and loss account, or you can amortize them over the lease tenure. Right? Are you clear with this? This is an important point, and we have one question based on this. So first tell me, are you clear with operating lease? Are you clear with operating lease? Because only if you're clear with operating lease, we can go to the next part. So quickly tell me, are you clear with operating lease? I'll quickly revise the entire thing. Operating lease means a lease which is not a finance lease is known as an operating lease. Then how do you recognize, give the accounting treatment in the books of lessor? In an operating lease, for a lessor it is an income, so it will be recorded using the SLM basis. If any other systematic allocation method is available, then you will record it be using that method. Depreciation, of course, will be charged by the lessor. On the other hand, income, if you look at the expenses on SLM, the expenses on SLM, expenses will be classified on SLM. If any other systematic allocation method is available, you will use that method, and the leasee will not charge depreciation. Are you understanding? I hope this is clear. Now I have two doubts. Let's take those two doubts. The first doubt says give an example of operating lease. So say for example, I am giving the right to use an asset to a leasee. The cost of the asset is 10 lakh rupees. The asset's useful life is 5 lakhs. I am giving it for 3 years. None of the 6 conditions are satisfied. Because none of the 6 conditions are satisfied, this is an operating lease. I will classify my lease on SLM basis. My lease income, if you're talking about the lessor, I will classify my lease income on SLM basis. So every year one amount will be credited to the profit and loss account since it is my income. On the other hand, if I see the viewpoint of the lessor, he is going to get right to use the asset and he is going to pay lease rentals. So he will also debit the same amount, the amount of lease that he's paying on SLM basis. Now see, in this case, one person is receiving, one person is paying, which means one person's expense is other person's income. So they are following the same method, which is your SLM method. Are you getting it? And the lessor is the one who will be charging the depreciation, since he is going to retain the ownership at the end of the useful life. Right? So if you look at substance over form, it is the lessor who is going to have the ownership of the asset. So in this case, you will have lessor charging the depreciation. Right? I hope, Ishika, that solves your doubt. In the meantime, I have another doubt which says we are talking about direct expense. So why income is given? Where is income given? Okay. It will be direct expense only. It will be direct expense. No need to take the income. It will be direct expense. So for the lessor, it will be the income and the expense as well. For the leasee, it will only be the expense. Right? Okay. Let's proceed then. If you're clear with this, let's go to the most important part, that is sale and lease back. And I will need to explain that with you with the help of an example. So let's understand sale and lease back. Very important concept. You have 3 questions in your study material based on sale and lease back, and I want each and every one of you to pay attention. And I also want you to understand what I'm doing. I am taking sale and lease back today, so that once after I finish sale and lease back, I think it will be time. So we will end the lecture over here, which means I am doing sale and lease back once right now. Tomorrow when we begin our lecture, again I will begin with sale and lease back. So we are doing sale and lease back twice. And when I end the accounting standard, I will revise sale and lease back again. So I will be revising it thrice. So you have 3 opportunities to understand sale and lease back and be thoroughly clear with its concept, because it is a very interesting and a very important concept. Right? Sale and lease back. This was not there in the original standard. It was added later on because a lot of problems were faced by the accounting standard board. Let's quickly understand what are the problems that are being faced, and then how did the accounting standard board solve it. Let's understand this entire concept. What is the meaning of sale and lease back? Let me explain that to you with the help of an example. A is the owner of the asset. Right? Now A is the owner of the asset and he badly needs money. Say for example, A has a laser cutting machine. A has what? A laser cutting machine which costs 20 lakhs. Now due to liquidity problems, A has suddenly faced a problem that A does not have money. So A is badly in need of money. Because A is badly in need of money, he needs liquid funds right now. And he does not want to go to a bank because bank will charge him interest. So again, it will be an expense for it. So what A thinks is, A looks out for a friend known as B. A says that A will sell the asset to B. Because A will sell the asset to B, A gets funds that he needs. So I am again repeating. A is the owner of the asset, a laser cutting machine, which is 20 lakh rupees. Suddenly A has been facing a lot of problems, a lot of liquidity problems. So A now wants money. So A tells his friend B that I am selling my asset to you. You please give me 20 lakhs. So A gets 20 lakhs which he needs. Then B will say, मेरे काम का तो ये machine नहीं है. In that case, A will say that A will lease back the asset. A will lease back the asset from B. Right now, what will happen is, understand. A को एक बार में पूरे 20 लाख मिल गए, लेकिन ये अपना बिजनेस बंद नहीं कर सकता. लेजर कटिंग मशीन मेरा असेट है क्योंकि उससे मेरा बिजनेस चल रहा है. मुझे पैसे तो चाहिए, मैंने असेट बेच दिया लेकिन बिजनेस थोड़ी बंद कर सकता. तो मैं क्या करूंगा, एक बार वो असेट बेच के वापस वो asset अपने पास ले लूंगा, I will lease it back. What will happen in a lease? No need to pay full amount today. You need to pay in installments known as lease rentals. Right, again, quickly let's revise the example. A is the owner of a business who owns a laser cutting machine. A की ownership है laser cutting machine की. अब उसको कुछ financial problem हो गई तो उसको तुरंत पैसे की जरूरत है. क्योंकि A को तुरंत पैसे की जरूरत है, वो क्या करता है, अपनी लेजर कटिंग मशीन अपने फ्रेंड B को बेच देता है और B से 20 लाख रुपए ले लेता है. जब वो 20 लाख रुपए B से ले लेता है, तब वो ऐसा सोचता है कि मैंने मशीन बेच दी पर मशीन B के कोई काम की नहीं है और मुझे अपना बिजनेस चलाते रहना. तो वो B को कहता है अब तुम मुझे यही एसेट वापस लीज पे दे दो. दैट इज व्हाई द हेडिंग ऑफ दिस टॉपिक इज सेल एंड लीज बैक. फर्स्ट यू सेल, देन you obtain the asset back on lease. That is why it is known as sale and lease back. Now when you obtain back this asset, you know that you wanted to get funds, you already received funds. Now you want to use the asset, but you do not want to make the entire, you do not want to pay the entire amount today. And you know that since you have taken on lease, you will have to pay in the form of lease rental. So my problem is solved. पैसे भी आ गए और मशीन भी हमारे पास आ गई. This phenomenon is entirely known as sale and lease back. Right? I hope this is clear. Let's understand with the help of a theory concept. It says when an asset is sold and reobtained, it is known as sale and lease back. देखो वही किया हमने. सबसे पहले we sold and then we reobtained. First we sold and then we reobtained. So this is known as sale and lease back. So this is known as sale and lease back. Right, let's proceed. Now the next question that you should have is when we obtain it again on lease. See, I'm writing over here, pay attention. When you obtain it again back on lease, you have two options. One, you obtain it as a finance lease. Second, you obtain it as an operating lease. या तो आप फाइनेंस लीज लोगे या तो आप ऑपरेटिंग लीज पे ले लोगे. अब देखो हमको क्या करना है. Let's take the first one. Asset is sold and reobtained by entering into finance lease. So let me put a new heading over here. Sale and lease back, which is finance lease. Sale and lease back, which is finance lease. Okay, I'm again repeating for you. Please understand the concept again. A is the owner of the asset. The asset is a laser cutting machine. This laser cutting machine is costing rupees 20 lakhs and B is badly in need of funds. So B tells A, I'm sorry, B tells A that I'm selling you the asset. You give me 20 lakhs now. Then I will obtain this asset back on you and I will keep paying to you in installments known as lease rentals. So which means both the problems of B are solved. He gets funds and he also gets to keep the asset. Now the problem is when you take the asset back, means when you lease it back, it will either be a finance lease or it will either be an operating lease. Let us understand the first scenario. The lease is a finance lease. Let's take this scenario. The lease will be finance lease, right? Understand this. What happens in a sale and lease back if it is a finance lease? If you look at the sale, can I say that when A sells to B, all risk and reward are transferred to B? On your chat box, yes or no? When I am selling the asset from A to B, you will agree with me that all the risk and reward of ownership will be transferred from A to B. Everyone agrees with that because it is very important for you to understand this only. Then I will be able to explain to you the concept. फिर से बता रहा हूँ. ए जब बी को असेट बेच देता है तो वो क्या करता है, सारे रिस्क एंड रिवॉर्ड, सारे ओनरशिप के राइट्स बी को बेच देता है, राइट? फर्स्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट। सेकेंड पॉइंट पे ध्यान देना, व्हेन ए obtains it back from leasee from B as finance lease, he gets back he gets back all rights of ownership. Do you agree with this? Because in finance lease, A will become the owner at the end of the lease tenure. Because A will become the owner at the end of the lease tenure, पहली बार A B को बेचता है तो सारे राइट्स बेच देता है। दूसरी बार जब B से वो वापस फाइनेंस लीज में ऑब्टेन करता है, then he gets back all the rights of the ownership, which means even after this sale and lease back, ultimately A remains the owner. Everyone agrees to this? Ultimately, A remains the owner. Why? Why does A remain the owner? Because A at the first place is selling the asset to B. When A is selling the asset to B, A is transferring all the risk and reward incident to ownership to B. फिर वो B से वही asset finance lease पे वापस लेता है। जब वो B से वही asset finance lease पे वापस लेता है, this clearly means that the rights, the ownership, the risk and reward is again coming back to B, which means एक हाथ आपने रिस्क एंड रिवॉर्ड दे दिया, दूसरे हाथ सेम टाइम आपने रिस्क एंड रिवॉर्ड वापस लिया। डू यू अग्री विद दिस? Do you agree with this? Okay, now I have one doubt which says, what will B get? Why will B purchase and all the rights are transferred to B? Now let's understand the situation of B. If you look at B, B has idle funds. He has idle funds and he wants to earn some interest on idle funds, which means when I say idle funds and when I say lease rentals, it includes principal plus interest portion. So B will earn some amount of interest from this sale and lease back as he is providing a financing service to A. Right? I hope, Pushti, your doubt is solved. What will happen is B has some idle funds. वो सेल एंड लीज बैक में एंट्री इसलिए होता है क्योंकि उसको पैसे भी फंड करने को मिल जाएंगे एंड ही विल आल्सो गेट सम अमाउंट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट इन द फॉर्म ऑफ लीज रेंटल्स. And interest rate will not be higher than the bank. It will be lower than the bank. Otherwise, why will A go to B? It will of course be lower than the bank, right? Because it is not public funding. It is personal funding which someone is doing. So in this case, it will be lower than the bank. It will be a nominal rate of interest which A and B are entering into. Right? Okay. Right, I'm again repeating. What will happen in this case is, I'm again repeating for you. What will happen in this case is, A when sells to B will transfer all the risk and reward incidental to ownership from A to B. Now when A receives back the asset, again risk and reward incidental to ownership comes back to the asset, which means sale to hua hi nahi. If you look at the substance over form, sale did not happen. For some time the ownership was transferred and the ownership came back to A. See how do you treat this in AS 19. Dhyan dena. If the asset is sold and reobtained by entering into a finance lease, देखो क्या होता है, at the time of sale there is transfer of ownership from seller to the buyer. वही हमने discuss किया. When A is selling to B, all the risk and reward are transferred to B. फिर आगे देखो. However, on reobtaining the same asset, there is a transfer of risk and reward from again the lessor to the leasee. Then it is a finance lease. In simple language, most important statement, ध्यान देना. In simple language, Seller, seller मतलब हमारे केस में कौन है? A. In our example, the seller is A. In simple language, A as the leasee will continue to enjoy the benefits of ownership. So A will still continue to enjoy the benefits of ownership. Why? Because he has obtained the same asset back on finance lease, and finance lease will give the leasee all the rights of the ownership. Are you understanding? I am again repeating in simple words. The seller, जो हमारा seller कौन है? A जो हमारा seller है वो बाद में क्या बन जाएगा? लीजी. और लीजी बन के वो क्या करेगा? He will enjoy all the rights of ownership, which means A will continue to enjoy the ownership benefits. Let's see what they've given. In simple language, seller as the leasee will continue to enjoy the benefits of ownership. Therefore, this transaction cannot be treated as sales. If you look at substance over form, it cannot be treated over as sales. Cannot be treated as sales. Since they follow substance over form, this transaction cannot be treated as sales. See what we have to do ahead. Therefore, this transaction cannot be treated as sales. Your selling profit is what? Sales value minus the WDV. So how will you record this transaction? How will you record the selling profit? Dhyan dena. Selling profit is, say for example, your sale value is 5 lakhs. Sorry, we've taken 20 lakhs. So let's take your sale value is 20 lakhs. But you sold it at 21 lakhs. So your profit is how much? 1 lakh. देखो क्या करना है. Now you all will agree this is not actual profit. You all will agree with me this is not actual profit because ownership तो हमारे पास वापस आ गई. Because this is not actual profit, देखो treatment क्या होगा? The above selling profit will be deferred and recognized over the lease tenure. What will it do? It will defer and recognize over the lease tenure. अब ध्यान देना. You will defer and recognize over the lease tenure. What will you do? You will defer and recognize over the lease tenure. अब इसका concept समझते हैं. Right? ध्यान देना. फिर से मैं एक बार I'll quickly revise with you and then we understand one example and I think that is sufficient for today. Again, let's take this example. A is the owner of an asset. A needs money, so A decides to sell the asset to B and then reobtain that asset back from B as finance lease. अब logically मैं सोचता हूँ तो B जब asset को बेचता है तो सारी ownership transfer हो जाती है और B जब वही asset वापस reobtain करता है तो उस केस में क्या होता है? B जब वही asset वापस reobtain करता है as finance lease, then he again gets back the ownership of the asset, which means on one hand he gives the ownership, on the other hand he immediately gets back the ownership. So this is not a genuine sale transaction. Since this cannot be treated as sales transaction, you will treat selling profit, that is the sale value minus the WDV, as defer. You will defer and recognize that over the lease tenure. Now last important point is why defer and recognize over the lease tenure. ध्यान देना, लोगों ने इस चीज को misuse किया. What did people do? They misused this provision. Which means मान लो मैं A हूं, मैंने B के साथ transaction किया. इस साल my profit is very low. This year my profit is very low. So then they decided that I must increase my profit somehow by any manipulation means. Because why will someone want to increase their profits? Because one, they want to retain their shareholders. Second, they want to show to the shareholders that we are doing good business. Third, they may want to raise some more funds from further public offers by issue of shares, by issue of debentures. So that is why they want to show more profits. Now this is not the correct way by manipulating books of accounts to show more profits. So in this case, what A will do is A will tell B that the cost of the asset is 20 lakhs, but I am selling you at 30 lakhs, which means directly what is my profit? 10 lakhs. Now this 10 lakhs, which is my profit, will directly be recognized in the profit and loss account. But this is not genuine profit, not the correct profit. One, it is inflated. Second, the ownership comes back to the lessor. The lessor is the one who, sorry, A, the leasee as the seller again gets back the ownership of the asset, because he gets back the rights and reward are still with the lessor, still with the seller, and that seller has now become the leasee, which means that this was one problem that the accounting standard board faced, that that everyone is manipulating the books of accounts and they are trying to show higher profits. That is why they introduced this thing कि आपको जितने पे बेचना हो बेच लो, हमको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. आप 20 लाख की एसेट 40 लाख में बेचो, हमको कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, पर हम आपको पूरा प्रॉफिट एक ही टाइम पे पीएनएल में डेबिट करने नहीं देंगे, या पूरा गेन आपको पीएनएल में एक ही टाइम पे क्रेडिट नहीं करने देंगे. जो सेलिंग प्रॉफिट होगा, that will be deferred and recognized over the lease tenure. Are you understanding? Which means you do not allow the entire gain to go to the profit and loss account in one go. It will be deferred and amortized over the lease tenure. Are you understanding? Again, I am repeating for you. Please pay attention. A is giving the ownership of the asset to B, and he is giving it at a price. Now, A will again obtain that asset back from B. So A as the seller will continue to enjoy the benefits because A is obtaining it as a finance lease, and in finance lease A will still retain ownership. In this case, this is not a sales transaction. Your difference between selling price and WDV will be charged or will be recognized and will be deferred and recognized over the lease tenure. Are you getting that? Okay, and whenever you have this kind of a transaction, you cannot straight away credit the entire gain to the profit and loss account. This gain will be deferred and recognized over the lease tenure. Are you getting it? Again, quickly, what is the meaning of sale and lease back? When you sell the asset and obtain it back, it is known as sale and lease back. You can either obtain it back on finance lease, or you will again obtain it back on operating lease. Let's focus only on the finance lease part. If you re-obtain it back on finance lease, then A first becomes the seller and gives the rights of the asset to B. And then as finance lease obtains the asset back on lease, and as the leasee continues to enjoy the benefits of ownership, which means this is not an actual sale transaction. The difference between sale value and your WDV will be deferred and amortized over the lease tenure. Are you absolutely clear with this? Are you clear with this? Please tell me so that I can understand whether you have understood this important provision or not. Are you all clear with this? Okay, I have one doubt which says that won't A be required to show separately extraordinary item as per earlier provision? He doesn't defer profit, and as a result the shareholders won't come to know whether it is not an operating income. Okay, so Sprua, I have a question to you. My question to you is, where did you study extraordinary item? Where did you study extraordinary item? My question to you is, where did you study extraordinary item? You studied it in AS5, not AS4. It is a part of AS5, not AS4. Right, now please understand, when accounting standard 19 is taking care of lease of assets, AS5 means extraordinary items will not interfere in that case. Right, we are very clear from the first day कि अगर एक स्टैंडर्ड किसी एक टॉपिक को कवर करता है तो कोई और अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड उस केस में इंटरफियर नहीं करेगा, क्योंकि लीजेस की बात है. एंड व्हेन लीज ऑफ असेट में सेल एंड लीज बैक की बात आती है, so this is already covered by AS19, so accounting standard 5 will not interfere in this case. Right, are you getting it? Okay, I quickly want an answer from everyone. Are you clear with this first part? We will definitely look at the other aspects tomorrow, including the practical questions. But as of now, sale and leaseback क्या होता है और सेल एंड लीज बैक जब फाइनेंस लीज होता है तो क्या होता है? इज एवरीवन क्लियर विद दिस? क्विकली आई वांट एवरीवन टू रिप्लाई सो दैट आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड. Okay, fine. Perfect. So you have understood what is sale and lease back, and then you've also understood what is sale and lease back as finance lease. Perfect. So I think this much is sufficient for today. Let's end over here. You will go back today, revise the 2 questions that we have done, and after that, today we'll meet at 3:30 for audit, and tomorrow we will again continue with AS19, and we will look one step further as to what is sale and lease back as operating lease. That is the most important point, and you have 3 questions based on that. We will also solve those 3 questions tomorrow. So tomorrow's lecture is absolutely important, right? So make sure you are there and you understand everything clearly. Okay, perfect. I think this much is sufficient for today. Please go back and revise, and I'll now see you at 3:30. Fine. Thank you so much for attending, and now please revise the entire concept that we have done today. Okay, thank you. Bye.